Hello, my name is Peter Watt, and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to my first video. Today, I'm going to be talking about a historical figure in history. His name is George Armstrong Custer. Now, you may be thinking, of all the people throughout history in America that influenced us, why Custer? Well, the reason why I chose this villain of America was a handful of reasons. First, I just didn't know a lot about him, and I feel like not very many people do. I mean, we can just name like a handful of things, and for those who don't know who Custer is, you can just look up an image of him. You'll probably recognize him immediately. He's most famously known for Custer's Last Stand, where he went into battle against a lot of mostly helpless Native Americans and wiped out a camp. And he's seen as a Indian-hating man. Now, the reason I chose this guy is because I feel like we need to learn both about the villains of America and the heroes. Both heroes and villains shape America to what it is now. And I thought it was good to learn about something like that. Plus, history shows it repeats itself. So I think it's good to also learn about the villains so that we don't become them and don't repeat history. Now let's go through Custer's childhood. Custer was born in New Rumley, Harrison County, Ohio on December 5th, 1839. He was the third child of his parents, Emmanuel and Maria. His first wife was Matilda. When he was married to his first wife, she only lived for 1 year, and her daughter died too. Shortly afterwards, Emmanuel wasn't going to be single for long, so he remarried to Maria, which is Custer's current mother, actual biological mother. But after they were married for just 5 months, Emmanuel's 3-year-old son died. So we can already see here, during his childhood, he already had some family problems, was going through a lot of issues. But when I was reading my biography, The Controversial Life of George Armstrong Custer, what struck me as the most interesting thing was his early military life and his personality. When reading about his personality, you find out shortly that he was a big goofball, a big prankster. When I was reading about him, they talked about, kind of how sloppy he was. He had tons of infractions written up, which were like write-ups for being in trouble in the military, but most of them were minor. Things like unbuttoned coat, not looking ahead of the parade, being late for something, all this kind of stuff. He sounded like a real sloppy guy. But I quote, his fellow cadet members and soldiers would say that there was a joyness to him. He made everyone seem to like him. He would go on nighttime adventures and pranks and go off laughter in the barracks. And this just shocked me because I always thought Custer would have been this stern, evil military man. And he sounded so sloppy, which is weird because we see in all these paintings and movies how good he looks with the perfect hair and well-trimmed mustache. And I found this interesting. But I think that just tells us why we should learn more about individuals in history. Custer sounded like the kind of guy that would have been in your school, the classmate that made everyone laugh, and some people were a little annoyed, but ultimately everyone loved him. And I think it's good to learn about people like this because we're more aware now. And learning about him, I felt like for the first time I saw a man in this legend. From things like paintings and movies and stereotypes and stuff, I feel like I never saw Custer the same way again after reading about him. He sounded like an actual person. He had tragedies in life, tried to justify things that he did, and this helps us to evaluate ourselves and to be sure what we're doing is the right thing so that we don't repeat after some of the big mistakes Custer made. I thank you, and I see you later.